Happy Thursday, writers. Today for Writing Workshop, you're going to need your pencil and your writing notebook. We're going to turn back into our notebook for yesterday's lesson where you were asked to write the paragraph based on our planning of the hardest job. This was to just be copied from what Mrs. Ling was doing. This was not for you to write a new essay. Remember that the previous day we had planned out our response to a prompt using our Oreo format to have the topic, our 3 reasons and examples or explanations, and then our conclusion. Today we're going to be taking a new topic and we're going to be creating an idea web that we're going to then pull into a planning sheet. So we're going to go ahead and write that this next item is going to be page 28. Then we're going to turn back to the table of contents. And 28 is going to be a paragraph prompt planning, and today we're going to be focusing on our favorite subject in school. So remember, write the title and then write today's date, which is 10-1-20. Then turn back to our page 28. Remember, at any point you can pause the video just to get yourself caught up and organized, and then push play when you're ready to continue. So at the top, we're going to write paragraph, prompt, planning. And this is going to be focused on our favorite subject. So once again, we're going to do the same type of idea that we have done for the past 2 days. You're going to be listening to Mrs. Ling talk out or do my think aloud of the process in which I would approach planning. And then tomorrow, we're going to take our planning sheet and turn this into a new paragraph focused on the prompt, our favorite subject. So today and tomorrow, you're going to be following along and writing everything Mrs. Ling is writing, not your own. So this isn't a personal paragraph. This is a Mrs. Ling's paragraph. And that way next week, when I ask you to write your first paragraph, you're going to have 2 examples that you can come back to look at what the expectation is for your writing. So we're going to start by writing our prompt. So at the top, write the word prompt. And then we're going to write, what is your favorite subject in school? And then we're going to write why. So this helps us with our knowing that we have to explain. So we're not just giving an answer in a one complete sentence. We have to do some further explanations. So we're going to start by building our idea web. So I want you to think about the length of your page, and we're going to divide this into 2 sections. So we're going to be building our idea web at the top. And then for the second half of the page, we're going to be using our planning format, similar to what we have done for the hardest job. So our Oreo, so we would have 2 boxes and the information in the inside. So looking about halfway down, maybe not slightly as far as halfway, I'm just drawing my line so I know that I have this section to do the planning in that Oreo format. I'm going to build my idea web up at the top. So I'm going to draw in the middle my topic or my focus, which is going to be the subject that I pick to write about. And then I will then draw the spokes that come out from my idea web to then give some further explanations of why I might like this particular subject. So for Mrs. Ling, if you've heard me in the past, I love teaching all different types of subjects. I love reading because I feel like I can get lost in books. I love writing because we can express our thinking for others to read it and also to be able to use our creativity. I like science because of all the experiments that we get to partake in. History because of all of the wealth of knowledge from what's happened in our past and how we can learn from it. But my all-time favorite is math. So we're going to write about Mrs. Ling's love of math today. So when you look at this particular notebook, you're going to be writing this based on Mrs. Ling's thinking, not your own thinking. So I'm going to write all of these ideas that I have that might support my love of math, and you're going to record them. So I love math because you can use it in everyday life. So it's applicable to everything that you do. For math, it comes easy to me, which I know it definitely does not come easy to a lot of people. Number sense and the ability to kind of use my numbers and break them apart and understand the relationships is something that Mrs. Ling's brain, it kind of snaps together and pieces go together to make a clear picture. I know that for me I'm very fortunate because a lot of our brains don't work that way, and you might excel in a different area and it might come easier than it might come to Mrs. Ling. So remember, this is just something personal to Mrs. Ling, not for everyone. So I might say, I know that I could use it in the future. And it is considered to be an important skill to continue to work on. So we're going to then, I love it that it follows a specific pattern. Math just makes me happy. I love that it's kind of like what we would describe as black and white. There is a right way to solve math problems, and there is usually a wrong way to solve math problems. So understanding those directions and to follow clear, defined steps, that's kind of makes sense to the way Mrs. Ling's brain works. So it makes me happy or brings me joy. And then we might also say that, let's see, I can crunch numbers. So I can use many different operations within. I can crunch numbers. So that means I can use them. So crunch numbers. And then I like to make numbers match up and manipulate them. So I'm going to write make numbers and manipulate them. So that would be what I was describing before about how you can put a 10 together and then figure out different combinations to then still create that end result or answer. So that could be with any type of math focus, so geometry or algebra or any of the ones that you will be getting into later on in life. So this is just an idea web, taking my prompt, what is your favorite subject? Knowing what my answer would then be focused on, creating the web to then show the support or evidence or reasons that I picked the subject area I have. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our planning sheet. So we said that we start by having a topic box. We know that we're going to have a conclusion box at the end. That's where we're going to restate the topic or our answer to the prompt. So those are the two cookies that support all of that creamy goodness of our Oreo. That is the examples and the reasons. So we then said that we would start with our first reason. And then I'm giving myself some space to write. And then I know that's followed by an explanation or an example or the evidence to support that reason. I then will have a second reason that I'm going to pull from my idea web that will then have a supported explanation or example. And then we have our third reason that will also be supported by an explanation or example. So we have our prompt. We started our brainstorming, so gathering some ideas. Oftentimes when we gather ideas, we gather more than we need because we know that when we write, we usually use 3 reasons or 3 ideas, and then make sure that we gather enough evidence and explanations to support those. So we're not going to use all of these. We're going to pick the 3 that we feel is the most important to our writing. So I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to pick this one first. The follows a specific pattern. So I might say, I'll write that in a moment. So I'm just picking them first. And then let's see, I love math. It does make me happy. You can ask my own children at home. They feel the same way. They're kind of like their mama. They like math as their favorite subject. And then I think also maybe that it's important to our everyday life. So important to our everyday life. So I think I found the 3 reasons that I'm going to use in a moment, but we're going to then go back and create some sort of topic sentence. So remember, the topic sentence is going to be where we're going to be focusing on the actual prompt and answering it. So I might start my topic. So I'm going to write topic to the side. And I might say, there are many things I like about school, comma, but the one subject I always enjoy learning about is math. Period. So I have used the information from my prompt to then develop a focused topic sentence that includes my answer to the prompt. So there are many things I like about school, comma, remember this is a compound sentence. It has a conjunction of fanboy, comma, but the one subject I always enjoy learning about is math. So now my reader knows my focus, and then I can then bring down my 3 reasons and further explain what those are going to entail. So I might say for my first reason or my first detail, math follows specific patterns and sequences. I love when things make sense. So something having a specific pattern or sequence makes my brain very happy. So my explanation of this could be this sequence is usually very linear, means it kind of follows a certain path. It's in a straight line, comma, which makes my brain happy and content. So when things make sense, we usually feel pretty good about those things. So my first reason was that it's following a specific pattern and sequence, and then I explained that by saying this sequence is usually very linear, comma, which makes my brain happy and content. So I've pulled down my first detail or my first reason of why math is my favorite. I then will move on. My second reason I'm going to be focusing on, I think about maybe the focus should be the making me feel joy based on math. So let's see, I can say, I also enjoy math because using different operations, and this is operations, if you will recall from math, is like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, lots of different operations. Operations brings me joy. So when I was writing my second reason, I don't want to just rewrite that it's making me happy, because then that's kind of restating something I've already said. So I had to be a little bit more specific, not just focusing on the sequence, but also using different types of operation. So when I explain that second detail, I'm going to start with the order of it all is comforting and easy for my brain. So I like that I have a good understanding of the way that the operations work and the rules or the directions of how to apply them. So it's kind of a comfort when things work out, and that you'll see that you get to the right answer. So that's something that we had discussed. My third reason is I want to say something about how I would use it in my everyday life, or it's important to everyday life. So I might start with that reason by saying, math is important to my everyday life. So I have my third reason, but now I have to explain it. So I might say, I know that if I can master the concepts now, comma, in school, comma, I will have a much easier future. So I was able to pull 3 ideas down from my idea web. I was able to then show that those are the reasons why I liked math, and I was able to then explain why those ideas were important to my explaining of why math is my favorite subject. The last thing that we're going to be focusing on today is, because we have the topic, we now have to have the conclusion. So we're going to write next to this last cookie, conclusion. And we're going to say, all of these reasons are just a little snapshot of why math is my favorite thing to learn about. So today you should have recorded everything that Mrs. Ling's recording on her page. This is not you coming up with your own ideas today. You were recording the information that Mrs. Ling's kind of talking out my process of how I would create my planning sheet. On Friday, which is tomorrow, you're going to be taking this information with Mrs. Ling and then turning our planning sheet into a well-developed paragraph that is focused on answering our prompt. So remember, when we're given a prompt, we have our brainstorming, we have our planning of how we're going to organize, and then the final component will be the creation of our paragraph. So take a picture of your completed page from your paragraph prompt planning and then submit it today.